Welcome to lesson 5, types of procurement. In this lesson, we'll cover the various types of procurement, including direct procurement, indirect procurement, strategic procurement, tactical procurement, single source procurement, multi-source procurement, global procurement, and e-procurement. Now let's jump into it. We're going to start with direct procurement. Direct procurement involves the sourcing and acquisition of goods, materials, or services that are directly incorporated into a company's final product. So when you directly procure, it means that the materials you buy or the goods or the services you procure directly contribute to the finishing of a particular production. And this is for people who are into production, where they purchase a particular goods or material or service to complete a production process. So these items are essential for organizations' cooperations. For instance, a car manufacturer procuring components like engines, tires, or electronics directly from suppliers. You remember, you're producing car or you're manufacturing car. You need engines, you need tires, you need electronics to complete the manufacturing of the tire of the car or the car. So that is direct procurement. So direct procurement is where you procure whether goods, materials, or services that will be directly incorporated into the final production for the company. All right, like a clear example of producing a car. And so to produce a car, you need engines. And of course, you may not be the one producing the engine. There is another supplier that into production of engines for different cars. And so you just need to put in your order for the kind of engine you want, and then they will supply that. There is another company that produces tires, and then you put in for tires, they will provide it. There's another company producing electronics, okay? They'll provide you all the electronics you need that will be able to assemble the car for movement. So that is direct procurement. Now, indirect procurement is where you procure or you acquire goods and services that are not directly used in the production process, but they are necessary for the organization's operations. So most organizations actually involve in indirect procurement, where you procure but not for the purpose of production. You are not into manufacturing, you are not into production, but you are actually into operations and you want to use it for operations. Take, for instance, you are procuring functioning items to help you support your business operations, okay? Where you want to make sure the organization can operate smoothly. For instance, if you are procuring office supplies, office equipment, office supplies, those are operational purchasing. And so you got item equipment, RT equipment, information technology equipment. You got maintenance services that you'll be rendering. So many other professional services that you may do, including legal and consulting services that you'll be hiring from external suppliers. All those are indirect procurement because they're going to support the organization's operation, but they're not going to lead directly to production. Then you have strategic procurement. Strategic procurement involves the procurement of goods and services that are vital for achieving an organization's long-term goals and competitive advantage. So there are organizations, and of course, in your organization, you have strategic goals, and these are long-term goals, maybe 3 years, 5 years, or some up to 10-year goal. So when you set a long-term strategic goal that will enable you meet or stand or gain competitive advantage in the business environment, then you need to procure strategically. And that means then what you are procuring, whether goods, services, or materials, must be able to support the long-term goal of the organization. Take, for instance, you are procuring higher equipment, higher machinery that will help you produce at a larger extent, or you are procuring that will support you to expand your business reach in another region or in another country. That is a long term. That's strategic procurement. So you need to make sure that whatever you're procuring can contribute to the long-term goal or the long-term vision of the business. So it involves a more strategic approach, which will consider such as supply capabilities. You need to also look at innovation potential, how you bring out new ideas in terms of improving or expanding. You need to look at risk management and cost optimization. Strategic procurement is typically aligned with the organization's overall business strategy. So you have a business strategy that you operate with, like I said, 3 or 5 years strategic plan that your organization has, and you have a roadmap on how you're going to achieve that strategic goal. So you need to set up a kind of strategic procurement plan to help you reach there. What are the things you need? What are the high-end materials, the high-end goods and services that you need to procure in order to achieve the long-term goals for the organization? Then you have tactical procurement. Tactical procurement looks at the day-to-day activities or the short-term procurement needs of an organization. So it is the smaller version of the strategic procurement. So here we are looking at the day-to-day work. We are looking at the short-term work. So for instance, if your strategic plan is looking at 3 to 5 years, your tactical plan may be looking at months and year, okay, closer to getting to the long-term vision. So you need to set tactical procurement plan for it. And of course, every organization will use these different methods at different point in time to meet the business needs. So it involves routine procurement activities. Routine procurement activities such as placing orders, those ones that you buy on a regular basis, continuous basis, okay? That's tactical procurement. Managing inventory, where you are managing stock and ensuring that you have what you have or what needs to be available for operations. Then you have to ensure timely delivery of those goods because they will be needed for day-to-day operations. So tactical procurement is often driven by immediate operational requirements and aims to meet immediate needs efficiently. So tactical procurement is basically looking at operations, and those are routine work. Those are regular and day-to-day business operational activities that we need to carry on. And to do that, we need supporting materials, goods, and services to carry along. Then we have single source procurement. Single source procurement occurs especially when organization procures goods or services from a single pre-selected supplier without seeking bids or quotes from alternative suppliers. So single source procurement has already defined itself as procuring from a single source. As displayed in the picture, for instance, the company or the organizations decided to procure from a single individual without seeking from other supplier or without trying to know whether another other suppliers exist. However, this approach is typically used when there is only one supplier available for a particular item, or when there is a strategic relationship with a specific supplier. So it may happen either in a case where there is only one supplier in that country, or there's only one supplier in that environment that provides that particular item that you need. On the other hand, there might be some strategic relationship. In procurement, there's something called long-term relationship or long-term agreement. That is a strategic relationship between organizations. So you may enter into a strategic or a long-term agreement with a particular supplier to offer or supply you regularly when it comes to this particular goods or services. So that is a strategic relationship, and so that is single sourcing. Whenever you need that service, you just go strictly for that. Then you have multi-source procurement, which is the opposite to the single source procurement. The multi-source procurement here, we are trying to look at options. We are looking at different suppliers, different vendors. We are not only sticking to a single vendor. We are trying to search. As you can see in the image already, we are spying to check. We are identifying different vendors, and we are trying to search to see all the different available vendors who can offer the goods, services, or materials that we need. So multi-source or multiple source procurement involves sourcing goods or services from multiple sources or multiple suppliers. This approach promotes competition among suppliers. Here, we are able to decide among multiple suppliers. There will be competition because each of them have to put forward the solutions and put forward the value that they bring. And we all can evaluate as an organization and select. So allowing the organization to compare pricing. This multiple source procurement will allow us to compare pricing, quality, delivery, and other factors to make the best procurement decisions. Unlike the single source procurement, there is no room for comparison between price, quality, delivery, and whatever, because it is just one company or supplier we are going with. But in the multi-source or multiple source procurement, we have the opportunity to compare price, quality, delivery, and other factors that will make us to make better decisions. So it can enhance flexibility. That's one. We are able to make better decisions on who to purchase from, and we are also able to reduce dependency on a single supplier. That is also another one. So it will reduce that rate of, if this only supplier we are depending on doesn't have it, we are able to use other suppliers as well. So multiple source supplier can reduce rates on dependency, and also it can reduce that rate of complacency. For instance, if you are using a single source supplying procurement method for a particular supplier, if care is not taken, or if there is no strategic long-term agreement between you and that supplier may take advantage of it, and they might increase price, and maybe you don't have any control, because there is only one man who is controlling the market, and so any price that comes up, that will be the price. You can only negotiate with him to some extent, but of course he has control over the market because he's the only supplier. So that is risky for any economy where you have product or goods that being supplied by a single source. There is no competition. So it is very important. In multiple source procurement, the risk can be very, very much small because you have many people to decide to go with. You have a lot of options available. Then you have global procurement. Global procurement is where you procure goods or services from international or overseas suppliers. Here you have to connect with suppliers outside your immediate community or your immediate country. So this is international or overseas suppliers. That's global procurement. So it involves managing complex factors such as currency exchange. Of course, that can be a challenge when it comes to international or overseas suppliers. You have to make sure that you meet with the currency exchange of that country. And you need to also look at customs regulations. Customs regulation, like different laws gathering on how you get goods from that country to your country. So you need to also look at that. You need to look at transportation logistics. Are you going to transport, whether by sea, whether by road, or whether by air, is also very critical to look at when it comes to international or overseas supplier. Then you need to look at cultural differences, including language barrier. Okay, so for instance, you're communicating with a French-speaking country and you are just an English-speaking country. There might be an issue in our cultural differences, the understanding level, the language barrier, all that. So you need to plan on how you're going to mitigate that process, or how you're going to fit in with all these complex issues and all that. And so there might be systemic difference as well between company E or country A and country B. That will require that and all this stuff. Another issue you got to look at is the bilateral relationship between your country and that particular country that you want to procure from, because that can really influence how the process is going to run. And so global procurement offers assessment or offers opportunity or access to a broader supplier base. So you have access to different countries, different suppliers, different products, different goods. I mean, just wide range of stuff. So this one, you have multiple sourcing, you have multiple options to decide. It also has cost advantages because you have different countries giving you their different pricing and all that. And then there is also potential for innovation. Of course, different countries are providing you different solutions, different value, and so you can decide on what is best for you. Then you have e-procurement. E-procurement, on the other hand, looks at using electronic systems such as online marketplaces like e-commerce, or electronic catalogs like on WhatsApp, where you go, you set up your catalog, you can purchase online, or electronic data interchange, which is EDR. So to streamline the ultimate procurement process. Okay, so when we say e-procurement, we mean electronic procurement. And this is strictly doing the procurement process online, using online marketplaces. For example, Amazon, Alibaba, Easy Market in Liberia, and other online marketing platforms or other online marketplaces where you remain at the comfort of your homes or offices and just order online whatever you want, and you schedule everything there, make the payment, everything online, and they will process it and get it delivered to your house. So, or your doorstep, or wherever location you want it to be delivered. So e-procurement enables organizations to source, order, track, and manage procurement activities electronically without having to do with any paper-based work. So it improves efficiency, reduces paperwork, and enhances transparency because you're able to see everything that's happening across the border. You're able to track your order. You're able to see the process or the different activities strictly done on the internet. Even when you make payment, it is instant and you get your receipt right there. So it's kind of very, very fast and much more transparent and reliable and reduces paperwork. However, it has its own disadvantages. Now, in conclusion, remember that the appropriate type of procurement methods depend on the needs of the organization. As an organization, you can use a combination of various types of procurement to fulfill the different needs of goods and services. For example, if you are into production or manufacturing, direct procurement will be helpful in acquiring goods and services to complete the production. But for routine operations, you will need to use indirect procurement that will enable you to acquire the needed goods and services. If you have a long-term vision or goal for the organization, 3 to 5 years or 10 years, it is important to procure strategically. And then tactical procurement will help you to achieve the short-term or the routine goals. And then in the event where there is only one supplier for a particular item, single source procurement will be appropriate. For items with many available suppliers, multiple source procurement will help to create competitive or competitive or competition among the various suppliers, and you also ensure value for money and will enable you make the better decision who to procure from. And for a more customized and diverse process, global procurement will help give you a wide range of suppliers, different products, innovation, and different improvement level, and even a very good pricing. With e-procurement or electronic procurement, you can order online using e-commerce or online shopping stores, and items are delivered at your desired location. All these have advantages and disadvantages, but it all depends on the unique situation, on the need or the specific item you are trying to procure, and the peculiarity or the condition with your environment or your particular country. Thanks for completing this lesson on the types of procurement. See you in the next lesson.